I was to be a speaker in this panel, but somehow our guest decided to make me moderator also. So I will be playing the dual role, moderator as well as a panelist in this panel one. As you know, can you keep quiet please? As you know, this panel is a very generic one. Inclusion, prospects, challenges, all these ahead. So it is not about banking alone, but this is cross-sectoral. Before I ask the other panelists, I would like to introduce this subject and finish my statement as a speaker, as a panelist. In my view, it will be helpful because inclusive growth has become a buzzword these days, and people interpret it in a very different manner. But broadly speaking, I would define inclusive growth as such if the benefits of growth reach all sections of the society, and an unequal society, poor society, more to the poorer sections of the society. This is a very broad definition of inclusive growth. Now, the challenge will be how to identify the various groups. One way will be in terms of identifying groups like scheduled caste, extremely backward class, Muslims, minorities, women, disabled, all these groups which are victims of multiple forms of deprivation. The other approach can be, you see dimensions of exclusion, like exclusion from food, shelter, education, about which I would like Mr. Amarjit Sinha to speak, health, and so many dimensions. In fact, exclusion from public police protection, where law and order comes, exclusion from public services. So these are the various dimensions. And at the same time, in the beginning, I would like to also state that for inclusive growth to happen, to be inclusive, it is important that benefits of growth, poor people are benefited more than the upper sections of the society. Only then it can be. In this context, I would like to just put some facts before you, whether Bihar, what kind of challenges we are facing. As it is very well known, Bihar has really made a miracle in terms of growth. For last 6 years, 7 years, the growth rate of Bihar has been close to 12% compared to Indian growth rate, which had been 8%. So 4% more than India, and for 6-7 years it is happening. I mean something, some kind of a real miracle. This is because of governance, better management of public services, many other things. This is very well known, and I'm not harping on that. But if I know, now you know, Bihar per capita income is only 38% of average Indian income. Maharashtra and Punjab per capita income is 4.5 times higher than Bihar. So Bihar has to grow at a higher rate. The issue is not that unless until you grow at higher rate, and Modi ji had said that, of course our ancestors have said Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, but the world and economic policy has become now so complex, growing at a higher rate and becoming inclusive. All societies are facing this challenge, not Bihar, not India, all across the world. So this is a big challenge everywhere, and here we have several other challenges. We have high fluctuations in growth rate in Bihar. Fluctuates between different years. Then there is enormous pressure on land and resources of population in Bihar. You can imagine from very fact the Bihar density of population is something like 1100 persons as against 382 for India. You can just imagine. Now, whether this growth has been inclusive. In many respects, yes, this law and order governance, Bihar has made significant strides in education. Now enrollment is almost universal, and girls' education has seen expansion leaps and bounds. Various social groups, Mahadalit schemes, women's program, panchayat reservation, all these things, by all accounts, these indicate that growth has been, steps have been towards inclusiveness. But there has not been any specific measure to measure this thing, whether it has been. But now, there are many other things. What has happened to poverty reduction? As many of you might be knowing, the National Sample Survey data of 2009-10 has not shown any significant poverty reduction in Bihar in 2009-10, between 2004-5 and 2010. Though personally we are studying this, we are not convinced that it has not made any difference. But National Sample Survey, they are so, and will come with a paper in a month's time. But this is the situation. It means that growth has not percolated to so that significant decline in poverty takes place. The other aspects, sectoral pattern of growth. Many of you will be surprised to know that in say 2000-2001, agriculture used to contribute 1/3 to GDP of Bihar. 33% it contributed. And industry services, their role was marginal. Now in 2010-11, agriculture share has come to 19%. This has all happened because the two sectors of the economy have grown significantly: construction, trade, hotels and restaurants. Construction at a rate of something like 10%, and trade hotels also very significant, maybe 8-9%. And now trade, hotels and restaurants, their contribution is 29%, agriculture is 19%. Don't think that declining share of agriculture is indicates that there is anything wrong. What is anxiety? That share of population implied in agriculture is still 63% in Bihar. So 63% of people are implied in agriculture, but they get only 19% of the income. So simply means the growth has not been inclusive, because the primary sector, including agriculture, has not grown as the secondary sector, services, communication, transport, trade, construction and all that. So this is a matter of concern. Now, in this context, I would very briefly just highlight and then invite the panelists. What are the challenges in various fields? One is, of course, rural development and agriculture. I think as you know, and statistics does not reveal it. There is a large number of tenant farmers in the state, and many people in the banking sector are here. Hardly any tenant farmer gets loans, though Reserve Bank of India has given such guidelines. So fair rules for tenancy and consolidation of land holding is important. Many programs of agriculture, and of course Bihar has developed a major program for agricultural development. A Krishi cabinet is there. I think Bihar will make a big headway in the field of agriculture and allied activity, including dairy. I have some points, but I'm not going to give you in detail what kind of innovation in dairy, other things. But most important point is, please note that any society in the world has not become prosperous because of agriculture. Unless, you know, America produces maybe 10 times more agricultural output than India, but only 2% of people or 3% of population is employed in that. So history says that with development, people move from agriculture to non-agriculture. Doesn't mean in urban areas, maybe in rural areas, surrounding rural areas, market towns and all those things. Listen, and Bihar 11% urbanization and such a dense population state. So I think this is one major challenge. This leads us to industrialization. We are not looking for big industrialization, but in my considered view and in the view of many other experts and as a matter of fact, the experience of development all around the world, unless until Bihari workers move to urban areas, in rural areas itself, non-agricultural production opportunities are created. I think this will remain inclusive growth, or their income generation will remain incomplete. I'm not going into here banking role, power and all those things, infrastructure, I'm not going to repeat it. Then, of course, for all that you need a big resources, and state has done really wonder in terms of generating resources and fiscal consolidation. But it is beyond the scope or beyond the domain of a poor state. Always there is a vicious circle operating in a poor economy, and need of public investment can only be met by private, planning commission and all that, and bank, about which I am not going to repeat because already Sushil Modi ji made all the points, how it is important. But I have seen and I have done very extensive field work in Bihar, that presence of banking is still in terms of giving loans to marginal sections of the society. I told you about tenant farmers, but so micro enterprises, all these is still very, very limited in Bihar. Banks are hesitant to come forward. And in this sector, as Mr. Raj Vikas Parmar told you, housing is extremely important. Housing loan is very extreme. Housing loan may be by societies, banks, and you will be surprised to know, in 2001 census, it was shown that 1/3 of the total housing shortage of India existed in Bihar only. Just you can imagine the extent of necessity of the sector. Then I think gender equality in any society for inclusive growth is very important, and this government has done something extraordinary. This Balika Cycle Yojana, Poshak Yojana, and most important the Panchayat Reservation, all these things are so important. But consolidating all these grants into labor markets and training facilities, I think is extremely important. I'm just indicating. Then education is a key thing in any society. Most of the people sitting from here, forefathers, grandfather, father, they were first generation literate. I'm the first generation literate. If one person becomes literate, the entire family changes. It affects other people also. Education is a key element, and Bihar has made significant strides. But again, I have a booklet who will be distributed free. You can see quality of education in Bihar is still among the worst in the state, and higher education, of course, among the worst in the country. We have a still large cohort of illiterate people. So Mr. Amarjit Sinha has really big challenge. He has been health secretary also. In health also, Bihar we have a very big challenge. Infant and mortality rate are among the highest. NRHM, in fact, the implementation of NRHM in the country and its success to a large extent, the credit goes to Mr. Amarjit Sinha when he was Joint Secretary Health. So all these, I think, health is a very big challenge. And lastly, friends, I think for all these, you need an institutional arrangement, a strengthening of institutions, governance, which has happened in Bihar, but still there is a gap in implementation. Our public delivery system has improved, but in many programs we don't compare or don't compete with most of the developed states. With these words, friends, now I invite the panelists. But I have taken 10-12 minutes as a panelist. Now I invite first Mr. I think Mr. You have a soft topic and you have to cover wider, both education and health, probably, or many other things. And his topic, Mr. Amrit Bharti, is infrastructure, not necessarily that you have to be confined to that only, but since you are, this department has done some kind of a real wonder in the state, and which is widely recorded, which is widely acknowledged, these two sectors. So with these words, I invite Mr. Pratyay Amrit.